Hey there, MSPs and IT pros. Welcome to the Rocket MSP podcast, where we ask the tough questions. Today, my guest is David Sohn from Helpt, an onshore help desk provider for MSPs. Now, if you're new to the show, here's how it works. We're going to start with questions for us to get to know my guest and their services better. After Q&A, we'll do show and tell, the segment where we get a demo of their product or service and get to ask more questions about how it works. So without further ado, let's bring on my guest. Hey there. How's it going, David?
Hey, it's going well. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, man. So you've got a product or a service, I should say, that is always, I'm going to call it elusive to MSPs. And the reason I say that is because there are, I don't want to say there are many outsourced help desk providers out there, because there really aren't. I feel like you could count on one or two hands the number of providers for this type of service. And we don't need to name names, we don't need to point fingers or do anything like that. But what I do want to talk about is what on earth makes you different? Because the one thing that many MSPs can attest is that when they, how do I say this without crapping all over you?
It's fair. It's fair. We hear it regularly. It's very tough. It is.
When
Yep.
when
Go ahead.
MSPs go to outsource their services, there's a market quality drop, because now it's people that are not employed by that MSP. They don't have skin in the game. A lot of times they are underpaid workers, and even worse because underpaid is they are in a different country, so
Mhm.
their expectations for courteousness and uh, customer satisfaction and all that are just different in different cultures, right? So how can we as MSPs trust that here's another outsourced help desk provider? All that long-winded to say, how can we trust that Helpt is going to provide service that doesn't suck to our clients?
So the thing that you asked early was what makes us different? And I think my answer to that is our desire to be different.
Mhm.
When Matt, my partner, and I entered this world, we really just wanted to look at what was out there and see what we could do to be different. And all of the things that you're talking about were things that, we've either experienced firsthand as I ran a tech support organization, or that we're hearing from all of our clients on a regular basis. Um, it is really difficult to give up control and to have people facing your customers that aren't a part of your team, that aren't somebody you can kind of go over and tap on the shoulder and say, hey, what's going on here? um, Good news is we're tapping shoulders for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's dive in a little bit. Let's actually, before we
Sure.
dive in, let's take a step back. So I
Mhm.
kind of came in with guns blazing, but why don't we get to know you a little bit better? You this is a newer venture for you. So what did you do
Mhm.
before Helped?
Yeah. So right before this, I actually ran a global technical support organization for a company that sold network hardware. We were doing fiber optics, patch panels, cabling, things like that. Um, in that, I had a team of folks in the US, I had a team of folks in the UK, and I was trying to use a service to help me cover a handful of hours that I wasn't able to cover. And so I went through all of the same things that people who are looking for an outsourced, solution went through. I saw the offshore options. I saw the options of folks that were, work from home, that were, maybe pausing the TV and picking up the phone. I saw all of those things, as a tech leader. And then I said, we got to be different. We got to do this differently. And so I know I said that already. You caught me in the middle of my whole spiel thing, but our goal is really to be different and satisfy my requirements. as I was doing that, role, I had a ton of requirements that I'm now trying to set out to satisfy. If that answers the question.
It does, yeah. So what made you decide to start Helpt? I mean, there are other providers out there, so why Helpt?
Yeah. Yeah. No. So we came from that company that was selling the network hardware. And my first thought as we left that organization, on good terms, luckily it was purchased by a massive conglomerate. Went well. And we said, hey, maybe it's time to try our own thing. But when we did try our own thing, we thought, you know, we need to fill this need out there for technical product support. It's outsourced, blah blah blah. That was in August of last year. After a couple of weeks, I reached out to some of my guys that were systems engineers at Juniper and doing all these really cool like optical engineering things. And one of them said, "Hey, you got to talk to my brother-in-law." And I said, "Sure, why not? This is great, good lead." And the brother-in-law was an MSP, and so we said, "Wow, okay, we know how to do that. How can we help?" And so we started helping them out. A couple weeks later, another MSP came up to us and said, "Whoa, you guys are, a breath of fresh air. It seems like you're doing things different." And then another one, and another one, and another one. And now, we don't do a lot of product support anymore, but we do deal with the MSPs.
All right.
Yeah.
So you've been in business for about a year then.
Yeah, August of 2022 is when we were official.
How many employees do you have now?
So we are at 12 total. Yeah.
And are they all like W-2 employees or are any of them 1099?
So all of our agents are W-2 employees. They are remote, but they're all here in the US, US based, US born, which is a huge thing now with all the cybersecurity requirements, the CMMCs, the ITARs, things of that nature.
And I don't see anything wrong with doing a hybrid work from home type of environment,
Mhm.
especially um, especially today, man. Like I think the thing that's going to be more critical is what are you doing to keep your employees happy and healthy?
Mhm.
Because, for me, for example, I am a fully remote employee for an MSP, but every week I've got a couple meetings I go to on Zoom or Teams or whatever, right?
Mhm.
I've got Slack that I get to chat with them all throughout the day.
Mhm.
We've got the water cooler in there so that way we can shoot the breeze about whatever we want to complain about for the moment. So what are you doing to keep your employees engaged with each other? Because I assume that's going to help reduce employee churn.
Yes, absolutely right. So we have the internal Slack as well. We use that, and frankly, we're silly. I'm kind of the silly sort myself, but I think we've built up kind of this, silliness bond. We do a Frog Friday. So every Friday, I instead of reacting to things with normal emojis, I start to react to things with frog emojis, and we're constantly communicating with each other. Because we are manning a queue. If somebody says, "Hey, I got to go to the bathroom, walk the dog, do whatever it is," maybe they'll pop in and say, "Hey, I'll be back in 10 or whatever it is." And, that constant communication kind of keeps us, in the same room, but not in the same room. And,
Cool.
your other question about how do we keep people happy? I mean, that is really tough. I know you came out guns blazing, but it is something that's constantly on our minds. We're hiring the same types of agents that you're going to be able to find as an MSP. I think one of the things that we offer to our agents is the variety. We use many different client tools on a daily basis. We're kind of like a crash course. You come in and you say, "Hey, I want to be a level one for an MSP. I've got experience, enterprise IT. I've got experience with this other thing. I've got these certs. I'm ready to go." And you come into Helped and you see many different perspectives. You see a bunch
Hmm.
of different tools. You see a bunch of different, ways of dealing with things. And I think that that really is a challenge, and all of our agents are up for that challenge. But I think it's something that really engages them.
Cool. So, what do you offer MSPs that no other company is offering?
That's a good question. So, one of the things that we do is we do a pod system. So aside from all of the the table stakes, as I like to call them, being on shore, being 24/7, we do a pod system. And so the way that it works is that depending on your size, you'll get a pod of 5 agents. Those 5 agents will include a team lead. That team lead is kind of like an IT service manager extension. Those 4 agents, those people are available. They're taking the tickets. They're internally escalating to the team lead before they're externally escalating to you. One of the things that we heard over and over again was, "Oh, I'm working with this other provider, and if it's not in the documentation, they just punt it. They send it right to us. It's super frustrating. What are we using them for?" type thing. And one of the ways that we kind of tell our agents to approach that is to say, "Hey, if you don't know what to do, we've got direct lines of communication. Maybe ping the stakeholder. Hey, Steve, this local admin password here in IT Glue doesn't look like it's right. What do you think?" And you go, "Oh, I changed it the other day. Here it is." Right. And then we'll go and we'll take care of whatever it was that needed to be taken care of. Instead of, local admin password not working, or it's something not right, send it over. Here's an escalation. So I think that that's unique. I got torched a couple days ago for using the term partnership on Reddit. No, somebody didn't like the fact that I said partnership. They said, "You're not taking financial obligation, blah blah blah." But what we really believe in is that partnership. You're hiring the team of agents. You're hiring the pod the same way that you would maybe hire one single person. You're training that pod. You're getting the continuity of support because it's the same people in that pod. Your customers are going to get the same people over and over again. You're going to get to know the team lead. You're going to get to know the other agents. We're really just trying to be fractional, be a partner. I don't know. Sorry, I'm rambling, Steve, but I think that that's what makes us a little bit different.
Okay. Now, you said your pods typically consist of like 5 people. So,
Mhm.
based on some basic math, you've got 12 employees. So it sounds
Yep.
like you've got 2 pods.
Yep. We are, yes, we have this focus of the pod system to allow us to cookie cutter. What we want to be able to do is go on this show and have everybody listen to me and say, "All right, that guy doesn't seem too bad," and sign up tomorrow. If 100 people signed up tomorrow, that would be way too much for, 2 pods, 12 people, whatever it is. But one of the things that we're really good at is bringing in the right talent, is attracting the right people, and then putting them into the pods. So we can cookie cutter those pods. 100 people sign up tomorrow. We're going to create another 5, 10, 15 pods, however many pods we need to support that, and we can do that pretty quickly.
All right. Do you have any growth plans for the next 12 to 18 months other than, let's get new clients?
Yeah. Well, our growth plans are, let's get new clients with more sales and marketing. So I think that that's one of our main focuses right now, is to start going to, a show a month instead of a show a quarter. We've been doing a show a quarter. We want to do a little bit more with, the sales and marketing effort to get new clients. The thing that I'm thinking about, and the thing that I think you kind of alluded to a little bit earlier, is this balance, this hybrid work life balance, this hybrid remote work, and work life balance. And I think that our future is something where we're going to offer people wildly flexible schedules. We want to be able to bring somebody in and say, "Hey, when do you want to work? When's going to work best for you?" And then they can say, I take my kids to school at 3 o'clock, or I guess I pick them up at 3 o'clock. I drop them off at 9. I want to work from 10 to 2:30. We want to be able to offer that to our agents, and we want to be able to make it something that is incredibly flexible. And we're building a platform towards that. So I don't think that's 18 months. I think that's maybe 36 months from now.
All right. Now, how do MSPs have a conversation with you, like let's say the support that your techs are providing our clients is not meeting our standard. How do we have that conversation with you?
Yeah. And I know that all the people that are thinking, oh, how's this going to scale or going to say something? But I want them to send me an email, send me a text, send me a whatever, reach out, give me a call. I was in some of the same shoes. I would want to know right away that my agents aren't performing as expected. If it turns out that it's a training issue, that's absolutely on me and something that we'll need to fix. If it turns out it's something else, then I want to know exactly what it is. So I'm, being transparent here, but we've had that happen a handful of times. There's some engagement that didn't go the way that it should have, and we'll get an email and we'll get a call, we'll get a text. Hey, what happened on this one? And my first thought is let's find out all sides of the story and let's really root cause analysis this and let's figure out how to get better. Some of our clients are happy to hear that we take that approach. Some of our clients might say, strike one, who knows? But our goal is to be different. Our goal is to be better, improve every day.
What kind of SLAs do you provide?
Mm. Our average pickup time on phone calls is 44 seconds. We will set the queue to about 2 minutes. So our goal is to pick up 98% of all calls within 2 minutes. When it comes to tickets, our goal is 30 minutes, but reality is that Mondays and Tuesdays get crazy. So I would say if I had to put something down on paper, I'd say an hour.
Okay. Your SLAs have any guarantees?
Our SLAs don't have any guarantees. It's a good thought, and I don't know how we would do it. We all live in this world. Something happens, M365, craps the bed, pardon the French, and we get 30 calls and 25 tickets based on those calls, and it just goes haywire. That's an unforeseen circumstance, and I don't know how we would do a guarantee, but if that was a requirement of maybe a contractor or a customer of ours, we could figure something out.
Now, normally I like to ask, what problems are solved for the MSPs, but I'd like to think this one's pretty simple. You're gonna
Mhm.
provide support when the MSP can't or doesn't want to.
Mhm.
So, how does your product help MSPs improve their service deliverability?
Mhm. So I think that beyond what you just mentioned, us picking up the phone or us jumping on the ticket, maybe sooner or in lieu of our clients, I think that one of the other things that it does is it really adds a buffer, almost like a shield between us and the technicians that might work for our MSP clients. Um, Imagining that you say to somebody, "Hey, you're going to go on call this week, and you're going to take all of the calls, and maybe you're a level two, maybe you're something different, and you're like, man, I hate taking the help desk type stuff. I hate taking that, my calendar looks funny type call." Imagine instead if you said, "Hey, you're on call, but you've actually got the help guys, you've got the team in front of you, and you're only going to get the escalations." And in that buffer, I think that we help improve the service deliverability because we almost de-stress things a little bit. We're taking it on. We're the frontline defense, and we're allowing our clients to change the way that they operate and do all the things that they've kind of wanted to do for their team, but might not have been able to because phones were ringing off the hooks or the tickets were coming in. Hey, my calendar looks funny. I think I used that one already. Hey, my keyboard's typing slow, things like that. We can kind of offload that.
Now, what what products do you guys integrate with? Because I'd like to think that you're going to have to integrate with an MSP's PSA, and you might
Mhm.
be connecting to their RMM as well.
Yeah. So this one's going to be a huge curveball. And I probably should have said this earlier when you asked what makes us different. We have a platform that allows our agents to click into our clients' group of tools the moment that they start an engagement. So instead of it being something where they're working out of Autotask or they're working out of Connectivize or they're working out of some PSA, call comes in from client A, they go down the left side of their screen, they click client A, it expands, it shows, Autotask, it shows, whatever the PSA tool is, it shows the RMM, maybe it shows Proofpoint, Barracuda, it shows all of the different tools that our clients are using. And it informs their steps because, maybe a call comes in or an email comes in and says, hey, I just got this funny looking email. Okay, great. Click right into that group of tools, Proofpoint. Awesome. All right, let me go in there, maybe add that one to the block senders list or make some action based on the tools that I know that are available to me. A lot of our competitors are going to say, you have to use this tool, you have to integrate with this thing, or you have to use our own ticketing system or some, level of requirement. And our goal is, again, to be different, to be an addition to your team. It's like hiring one technician, but instead of one, you're getting that pod. I'll say that over and over again because I think it's really important to think about us like a part of your team, fractional tech support, fractional, help desk, as opposed to it being something where you're going to send a ticket like a boomerang out to, some call center. They're going to take it with a pod of however many hundreds of people that are sitting in cubicles. They're going to try to work it. They're not going to find the right thing in the IT glue, the hoodoo, the whatever, and then they're going to send it right back to you. That's what we're trying to avoid. And I think the fractional pod system thing does that.
Excellent. Now, how do you help MSPs get your service up and running? Because there's got to be
Yeah.
some like onboarding and setup stuff, right?
Yeah, because we use that platform, it's wildly simple. We're not needing tasks for API keys. We're not needing tasks for, different things to allow us to integrate within your systems. The process, I say, takes 2 hours. It really takes 30 minutes on a first call. That first call is asking questions that maybe you're not even thinking about. Like, what do you want the ringtone to sound like when, your client is calling in? How do you want the audio while connecting to sound? What do you want it to do, in the phone system beyond, just the normal stuff? And then it's the stuff that you are thinking about, like, what do we do in an escalation? How do you want us to escalate during what times do we call this person? During what times do we call that person? And then after those first handful of questions in that 30-minute session, we'll create a phone number. It's a private number. It's the number that you're going to forward to out of your system that's going to hit our system. We'll create a distribution list for emails, for the licenses and activation tools. And then we'll break. We'll set up something, day later, a couple days later, however fast it is that we can, kind of put everything in motion. And then we'll do another call where we test the systems. And while we're testing the systems, we start to look at the nuance. Everybody has their own business process. They use, good practices, but sometimes people will, resolve a ticket, and sometimes people will complete a ticket, and sometimes people will, resolve a ticket by using the resolved, dash pending something, pending accounting, pending some other thing. And we need to know all of those things. And so on that second call, it's where I'm really, taking notes, or we're taking notes into your system that we then can present to our agents. So call comes in, I've got this, we call it it's our floating knowledge base. It's just a knowledge base that pops up with a bunch of cards that are specific to you as a business. It'll have a card that says call and ticket rules. In that call and ticket rules card, there might be something that says complete tickets. Use the complete status on completed tickets. Track your time in this field, do this and that, and whatever it is that you've kind of defined for me. That 2-hour period is over. We're off to the races. We're picking up the phone. We're providing, professional, friendly, good people. We give them the warm and fuzzies, and we take all of our skills and things that we're seeing on a regular basis and apply them to your clients, to your customers. Sometimes there's things that are going to come up that you have no idea how to deal with, but we're all about that open line of communication. If you have Slack, if you have Teams, whatever it is, we will ping you right away. Hey, Steve, what's going on with this one? Like the local admin password example from earlier. Hey, I just tried this 3 times and it's not working. You go, I just changed this thing, try this other thing. We go back, try it, knock the ticket out, instead of it being this game of tennis back and forth. I'm on a ramble. I feel like I just kept going. Sorry, Steve. What? I hope that's all
No,
right.
I'm okay with that, man. So let's talk about our data for a little bit.
Yeah.
So first of all, what countries do you support MSPs for?
Right now, just in the U.S.
Okay.
We've had a couple people ask us out of the country, but right now, just U.S. MSPs.
And is all of our data stored here in the US?
Yeah, there's really no time that we're storing any of your data. We're accessing the data through our platform, but we're not storing anything unless I'm missing the question.
No. So I'm just thinking about anything from I don't know, like a list of our clients or our information. I'm not worried so much about like the IT glue and all that type of stuff
Mhm.
yet. I'm
Mhm.
more worried about, where I assume you've got a list of our clients somewhere because you need to know who you're providing support to and where is
So
that stored?
So outside of the IT glues and the hoodoos, we do have that floating knowledge base article, and in most cases, almost all cases, they're non-specific. It'll use maybe the client name, but then it'll have rules that are specific to that client. That's a cloud-hosted solution. I'll have to look where they are, but that's the only place where we might have a contact name that isn't you in our system versus yours.
Gotcha. Now, while we may not have a bunch of data on your systems, we do have to make sure that you're able to stay up and running. So, what kind of redundancy, disaster recovery plans, all that good stuff do you have in place?
So we this now these are the hard balls. This is good stuff. So we use the cloud-based solutions, and we are in multiple remote locations. If something happened to me or my internet, all of our agents are on completely different internet providers. Um, we do use like a SASE solution. We use Perimeter 81. I don't know if I can shout them out. If that ever went down and we were unable to access some of the things that were whitelisted to be able to access, that would be something that we would send out a message. And as a part of our, recovery plan, it's really just a matter of communication.
And do you guys have like I don't know, policies in place today when it comes to disaster plan, recovery plan, all that good stuff for when something were to ever go down?
I can't say that we have something formalized. We follow guidelines. It's something that we've looked into because it is something that we've been asked. When it comes to things like the SOC 2 and the NIST compliance, that's where I think I can get a little bit deeper into, how we're focused on achieving those things or allowing our clients to achieve those things, frankly. When it comes to disaster recovery, I don't know, maybe it is fly by the seat of our pants, but we'll try to do it in a way that doesn't impact too much.
So let's talk about compliance for a little bit.
Mhm.
So I'm going to call it two different types of compliance that you probably need to worry about. One would be like the internal compliance, whether that's SOC 2 or ISO 27001, et cetera. And then two is external compliance. So that way you can help us with our compliance. So that might be signing a HIPAA BAA or any
Yes.
number of things, right? So talk to me about compliance. Feel free to give me just a high level overview to start.
Yes. So yes, we do. We have signed the BAA compliance. We have also helped our our clients through SOC 2 audits. We are a extension of your team. If you say, I need all of my technicians to watch this video and check this box and acknowledge these things, we just did a SOC 2 audit recently, actually. So that's what it was, awareness and policies and, a handful of documents where they were saying, yeah, I agree with this. And, we watched the video, we did all that stuff. So we do that as a part of your team. If you say, hey, I'm doing a SOC 2, great. What do we need to fill out? We'll do the training. We'll be, fractional and be a part of your team. All right.
So
that wasn't a high level. Sorry, Steve.
No, it's okay. So how about let's dig a little deeper into compliance now. Are you guys, as a company as a whole, not necessarily you, are you guys able to work within like the NIST CSF or CIS controls or anything like that when it comes to our clients?
So if there are specific things that we would need to adhere to, the answer would be yes. Right now, we've got a couple of clients that are working with hospital systems. We've got a couple of clients that are working with, stock trading platforms and companies like that. And they basically define what we need to do, and we're happy to do it. We are more reactive in that regard. Hey, I need you to do this training, or I need you to fill this form. I need you to take this measure. Okay, we'll do that. It's tough to be proactive with so many clients.
And I know earlier you said you'll sign a BAA. What do you have in place internally? Because I know, for example, if you're able to access our client machine, then I think that means you also have to meet like internal HIPAA compliance and that type of stuff. Is that accurate?
I don't know, and I don't want to say the wrong thing here.
That's fair.
When we signed it, there was a list of things that we needed to do, and we coached the agents, and we made sure that was adopted in our best practices. I don't think that we're without blame if something happens, because we are doing the remote connections. We are dealing with the customers' desktops and seeing some of the stuff that's on their screen, but it's still all in your environment, as opposed to it being something where you're integrating with our tool, which API is a backdoor into something. If we're APIing into your ticketing system, then that means that we have access to all of your ticketing system. If we're just in your ticketing system, then we have access to your ticketing system while you allow us to have that access to the ticketing system, and it's not in a automated fashion, right? An agent looking at something is a lot different than a database being able to store all of those different records. That's another thing that we have. We use Keeper as our password manager, and we have controls in place that allow us to turn agents off immediately. If somebody said, hey, I'm going to this other job, or you guys smell funny, or whatever it is, we click a couple buttons and they no longer have access to anything. Helpt internal systems and all of our clients' external system. Clients' internal system.
Good, and that honestly kind of helps us segue right into cybersecurity. So
yeah,
that's wonderful. The interesting thing is, normally I'm asking you, do you support multi-factor authentication and single sign-on, but you don't really have that type of platform. I mean, you might support it internally, but we as an MSP, is there even a portal for us to log into?
There are analytics, but that's it right now. We send out our reporting every month that is just a screenshot of that dashboard. The analytics is where you could go in and see, the call times, the number of ticket engagements, the averages, kind of see if there are any outliers or things that throw you off. But there's really not somewhere that you can go in and, see all the tickets that are with us, because that's your system. There's not somewhere where you can go in and, see who looked at that last, IT glue document, because that's your system, right? You go into IT glue and you look at the, audit logs, and you'd see, oh, David with his, David at Get Helped, address looked at this document. Um, it's tough. It's a weird, like kind of a middle ground place to be. Your controls are our controls.
Very good. Now I'm going to hop into my Q&A form submissions here
Cool.
because I know I received a few submissions.
Mm.
So someone asked, and we already talked about it a little bit, what's your SLA for response time and resolution times? That was 2 minutes, I think, for phone calls, and then 1 hour for tickets.
Yep. Yeah. Response times 1 hour, resolution times that's tougher. 4 hours is our goal,
Sure.
but you guys know some things take a lot longer. We have a couple clients that have us on Bright Gauge, where we can look in and see exactly what the tickets that we're affecting are doing. Their percentage of response times under the SLA, over the SLA, things like that.
How will you be able to incorporate an organization's SOPs efficiently and effectively at the L1 level to avoid the frustration many feel when reaching a typical outsourced service desk?
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. Whoever asked that question, thank you. That knowledge base, the floating knowledge base article, as I mentioned it earlier, that's really something that's front and center, where our agents, click on the left side and they go into the group tools, so the client's tools, and then on the right side, there's a floating knowledge base that says, here's the call and ticket rules. That's where the SOPs go. Hey, if this VIP calls in, to that level of granularity, do these things. Resolve a ticket this way. Track your time this way. Do the things our way versus doing the things your way, and that's all right there for our agents in the knowledge base articles. And frankly, and I'm going full transparency again, we've had a couple times where we track the time the wrong way. And that comes down to that interaction of saying, hey guys, you're tracking the time the wrong way. Okay. Train the team, coach them up a little bit. And then the next time they don't do it. It's a partnership. It's an open line of communication. It's not going to be perfect. The first couple of weeks, we're going to learn those SOPs. We're going to, install them. We're going to have them in our articles. And then we're going to make a mistake just like any other level one. When it happens though, you're kind of training up a whole team of people as opposed to that one person. So there's some benefit there.
So on your website, you actually have plans and pricing right there. We don't have to go through any hoops or anything. So I'm going to beat you up a little bit on your pricing because
Totally.
I think at first glance it seems reasonable because $1,650 a month, $1,650 US per month is the starting point. I think where this is going to become a little frustrating for MSPs who maybe don't understand how outsourcing a help desk works is you're giving us our limits of, this includes 300 minutes. So that's $5.50 per minute, which the math works out to be $330 an hour. Now, I don't know any MSP that is charging $330 an hour, at least for in hours, the 9 to 5 typical business hours, right?
Yeah.
What were you smoking when you put together your pricing?
So it's the good stuff. We're here in California. So
That explains everything.
yes. So to address the question about $5.50 a minute, you nailed it already. For overflow, for after hours, that's where it's a little bit more advantageous. You don't need to hire a level one person. You don't need to pay your guys a little bit more to be on call and add a little bit of stress to them. You just install us, and we're butts and seats to take the calls. $5.50 a minute is insane. Our average call time is about 8 minutes. So 8 times 5 is $40. $40 a ticket isn't insane. And sometimes we've got clients, and I don't know, I'm just gonna, plug my ears in case you guys do this. We have clients that charge minimums that are well beyond, 15 minutes. Sometimes it's a 30-minute minimum if you call after hours. Sometimes it's an hour minimum if you call after hours. Call comes into us, we're gonna charge you to the second. It's a 4-minute call because somebody calls in and says, my keyboard's going slow. Okay, try this, do restart. Oh, it worked, great. Done. You invoice them 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is. So you're actually potentially making some money on top of that. The other side of that and the the complete, I don't know, 180. So yes, we are transparent with our pricing ish. One of the other things that we do is we do offer MSP pricing because we're quick to adapt. I mean, this is our motto. When we got into this MSP world, people started looking at pricing and saying, "Whoa, it's that much per minute." But what happens if you've got the CEO on the line and they need to restart their computer 4 times and it takes you 30 minutes? I'm not paying that much for that engagement. Or conversely, what about if there's, a bunch of alert calls that come in and, you're doing tickets? Like, how are you going to charge me if an alert comes in and all your guys have to do is press one? Is that a quarter of a ticket? Is that a full ticket? Is that a whatever? And so what we settled on was a per user pricing for our MSPs. And again, full transparency, even though it's not on our website, we charge $24 per user per month. That's all US. It's 24/7. That's, people on the front line that are taking those inbound engagements, taking care of the customer, going from there.
So 24 per user per month.
Mhm,
Is there a
mhm.
minimum number of users?
No. So so again, trying to be a little bit different. We don't do minimums. We don't do contracts. We don't do, all the crazy stuff that you hear about from other companies out there with their 3-year deals. We want to prove ourselves literally every day. If you called me and said, I've got 5 users, and actually I had a call with somebody yesterday that said, I've got a bunch of users, but I want to guinea pig you guys with 5 users. Okay, let us show you what we can do. Let's see if the partnership works. And if it does, we'll keep going. You'll give us those other users. With the
Okay.
$24 a user, you can see it now. When you charge X amount of dollars per user per month, you got, your licensing, you've got your time, you've got these whatever else things. And now you've got something that's clear and defines for your help desk. That's what we wanted to be able to offer, and that's what we do offer to our MSP clients.
So for that $24, what are we getting? Because
Mhm,
as an outsourced help desk, you know that time is not infinite. So
mhm.
we're not getting unlimited all you can eat resources for $24 per user, right?
Right. So you are getting more on that inbound engagement. So if somebody calls in and says, "Hey, my Outlook is looking funny." I keep saying that, I don't know, but it's an inbound engagement. So ticket comes in, it turns out that it's urgent, we're going to grab it. Call comes in, it's urgent, we're grabbing it. There are some limitations that I'll send out to you to maybe send to others, or I think we have a handful of them on our website under our FAQs. But you're right, it can't be unlimited. If you say I'm going to do a user onboarding and it's a 4-hour process, then we'll look at that as maybe project rate type thing, which we do offer, tier 2 and tier 3 resources as the project rate if you're using our per user service.
All right. And then I think I'm still a little fuzzy on what you mean by
Oh.
your. So what are we getting for that $24 per user?
Yes. So let me see if I've got a list. Um, you know,
And
I
I
think
and I
it's easy
guess
to say.
I guess let me rephrase. So with another help desk and Knox service provider,
Mhm,
they'll say that on average, each user creates we'll call it 2 tickets a month, and each of
mhm,
those tickets is 15 minutes worth of work. So each
mhm,
user is worth 30 minutes worth of support. And
mhm,
basically they'll say, okay, you're paying for 100 users. That means you get 30 minutes times 100. So now you've got
mhm,
3,000 minutes, if I've done my math correctly, available
Mhm.
to your MSP in one big pool. Is that kind of what you're doing as well when they're doing the per user thing?
So yes, we are calculating it in a way that makes it equitable for hopefully everybody.
Mhm.
We are hoping that it's going to be on average that 2 to 3 engagements per user per month. What we're also doing is well, I guess I've got the list up now. So, we're doing Microsoft 365 admin, password resets, forwarding, things like that. We're taking care of hardware issues, including printers, computers being slow. We're doing application support. So, if you're in a vertical where it's engineering or manufacturing or something like that, and you've got some software that your clients are relying on, we can take a look into things that might be necessary there. We do the VPN troubleshooting, the Wi-Fi type stuff, shared drives, access control. So we're doing like the reactive list management, patch management reactively, and then we're dealing with servers as well. So if an alert comes in or something needs to be rebooted or restarted, we'll jump on that. One of the things that we have here, and what it does not include, is a lot of the proactive stuff. So when we're dealing per user, it's hard to be proactive because we need to be able to keep that engagement time down, so that it makes sense for us and so that we're available for our other clients. Last thing we'd want to do is not be available. That's literally our goal.
That makes sense. All right. So $330 an hour still sounds steep, but that also sounds in some ways like the smarter way to do it. And the reason I say that is because um, how nice is it to not worry about, well, what if a client that I'm not paying for the MSP plan, what if they call at 11 o'clock at night and need support? It's any client that calls you'll take care of when you're paying
Exactly.
by the minute or whatever you want to word it, right? Where so do you have any customers, partners, whatever, that are kind of doing a hybrid of the two, where maybe they're paying for the all you can eat or whatever you want to call it for these three clients, and then they've got a block of time for everything else?
No, we don't have anybody that's doing anything hybrid right now. But we're always open to that because we know how quickly things evolve for our clients. If somebody signed on a company that was going to be doing just password resets or just one element of this help desk thing, and they wanted to go, per user on them, but they were previously, doing overflow or per minute, it's something that we would entertain. I think to put things into perspective a little bit, we've got a company that uses us per minute as their full front line, and right now they're at about 600 or 700 users, however many endpoints that turns out to, 1,000 endpoints. And they also do some licensing and things for other users. That company, pretty operationally mature, they've got some of their stuff in order. They're only using around 1,500 minutes a month. And so you end up with something where it's like, oh, 1,500 minutes divided by 60, that's a lot of per hour, cost. But for them, they don't have 3 or 4 technicians that are sitting there, waiting on the call. They've got us who are jumping on the call.
Hmm. Okay. And just to give people who are still listening an idea, you have a 1,000 minute plan for 4,000 a month.
Mhm.
So the price per minute does go down. So at that point, it's $4 a minute. And I'm sure um, if somebody wanted to reach out and do a larger engagement with you, I'm sure you would do something creative on pricing to make it worth their while. Maybe
Yeah,
375 or 350 a minute or something. I don't know.
absolutely.
At that point, it's just semantics, right?
Exactly. And we're always asked, like, like you asked, what's different? What are you trying to do? What are your goals? Where are you going? Overall, the company name is called Helpt. We're here to help people, and we found this amazing community of MSP members that we're really trying to help. If somebody comes to us and says, "Hey, I've got those 5 users and I'm growing," Like, okay, let us help you. Let us jump in there. If somebody comes to us and says, hey, I've got a need for thousands of minutes, but here's where I need to be, to make it make sense to me. Okay, like let's have that conversation. We're not like a car dealership where we're not going to say no, but we're definitely here to help everybody, and and that's truly our goal. It's the name of our company.
Hmm. All right. Well, very good. Um, I like what I hear. I'm going to summarize everything, and you may or may not agree with my summary, but it's what I've gathered from our call. So you've been around for about a year. Uh, some of the things you're still shooting from the hip when it comes to maybe uh, I don't want to say cybersecurity because that'll turn people off, but you don't necessarily have like a disaster recovery plan in place because you're all like hybrid remote, everything's in the cloud. So if one guy's internet goes down, I mean that sucks, but you still have 11 other guys that can fill in where he was at. The pricing seems a little high, seems a little scary, but you guys charge down to the second, and you're doing things in a way that you're trying to be fair for everybody, and I can respect that. You also have MSP pricing, which is not on the website. So do you sell direct, or do you only work with MSPs?
We only work with MSPs direct, like to IT enterprise, or how do you mean?
Like if Jimmy's Auto Repair down the road found your website, can they sign up for you?
No. So we,
Okay.
we're not an MSP, which is also something that I'm finding is different from a lot of these other services out there. And
Mm.
we have no desire to become an MSP. We call ourselves an MSP support organization. It makes us the leper in the room sometimes because and it also makes us the confidant in the room because we're dealing with most of the same issues. So it's kind of a weird place to be, but it's working so far.
Good. Very good. David, thank you so much for coming on here today, man. I really do appreciate it. I respect what you've got going on, and I think you guys should give Helped a chance. You can go to the website gethelpt, HELPT.com to learn more, to see pricing, and to schedule time to chat with David or one of his other agents to get signed up. Anything else you'd like to impart on the audience before we take off, David?
One of the things I did promise that we'd talk about was the beard and mustache situation. Here I am. This is me full beard. The profile picture, I've got just the mustache. Steve, I'm leaving it in
Yeah.
your hands. Do you think I look better with the beard or the mustache? Whatever you say, I'm gonna go fix it.
Let me look at that profile picture because I honestly don't remember. Um,
Oh,
my assumption is that you look better with the beard.
huh.
Give me a moment. Oh, why do computers have to be so slow when you don't want them to be?
Do you need
Right?
some support? No,
Do you guys support Apple computers?
we do. We do.
Okay, so since you've asked, I'm going to give you my honest opinion.
Mhm.
Um, the headshot that you sent me, which here, let me share my screen. Window, there, boom. This is what you sent me.
Mhm.
You look like a used car salesman in the year 2005 in this picture,
Oh no.
while while your look today seems more raw, more genuine, and
Mm.
I don't know. I trust this version of you much more than I trust the used car salesman version.
All right. Feedback received. I guess the beard will stay, and I may even have to update my headshot. Unless you want to buy a car. If you want to buy a car, let me know. I can take
what
care of you.
What do you have? What are you selling?
2005 Hyundai Sonata, if you need that.
Is that what you're driving?
No.
Man, those Sonatas are nice, man. Oh man. No, very, very good. Well, David, thank you so much for coming on here today, man. I do truly, I enjoy talking to you. I enjoy your platform. I enjoy your beard. If anybody has any questions, gethelpt.com. And anytime you want to come on back, man, you know where to find me.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Thank you, Steve's audience.
Take care, everybody.